Cookup. Hey, you, right there. Y'all see it. Watch this video to the end, boy.
Dennis here, back with another album review. Y'all already know what the lick read. That's right. But I'm going to say it because for those of you that's on the new, make sure y'all like and subscribe and hit the notification button. It's greatly appreciated. So, y'all see the title. Y'all already know what I'm about to talk about. We're going to keep this thing short and sweet because it ain't nothing I could really tell you about these brothers. You know what I mean? Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre finally dropped the album, Missionary. By this time, y'all probably heard it already. And, for me, I don't really like to jump on albums right away. I like to listen to it, give it a thorough few listens first before I get to speaking about it. I don't think I feel the need to have to sit on here for about an hour or two, going through song for song, playing them and all that other stuff. There's plenty of them like that. So my style is pretty much, I talk about what I like and try to give you an honest review to the best of my ability and my opinion. So with that said, there's only two things I really came in expecting without having no expectations for this album. And that's production and sound. Now the production I knew was going to be on point is Dr. Dre. One of the greatest composers of our time, greatest producers, greatest sound designers of our time. Let me go on and let me say this before I get off into it. This is one of the best sounding albums I heard in years. Obviously, that's not really an expectation. Kind of knew that was coming. It's a couple things I want to talk about this album before I get into detail about the songs. Now, 16 songs I definitely enjoyed about strongly, like a strong 11, but really it's like 14 songs you can listen to. It's like maybe about 2 or 3 of them, it's like, but they still pass the test depending on what your flavor is. This album is for mature audiences only. Now, for some of you youngsters out there, hopefully you might find something, you might enjoy the album, but if depending on your age and era, some people, I even heard a couple people in my comments that kind of chimed in on it on my other platforms. A few people called it classic. Will I call it a classic? I wouldn't be mad if you did, but I definitely know that this is a dope album altogether. After 3 listens, I think I listened to it maybe more than 3 times, and I still stand on a strong 4 globes for sure. It's a 4 globe album. I'm gonna just get right to it now. A couple joints that I did enjoy, and that's I love Gangsta Pose. I like Out of the Blue. Out of the Blue is dope. I think Out of the Blue low-key should have been the intro because it's got that, and you never really seen this too much. You got that classic back and forth Snoop and Dre, but in a different way in a little bit, you know what I mean? That's why I said this album had essence of the Death Row sound, had essence of the Aftermath sound, and the Dr. Dre new sound, you know what I mean? That's what we was waiting on, that's what we were expecting without any expectations. Before this album came out, they've been on a promo run and did a few interviews letting you know that this album is a mature album, and this is, you'll be surprised how this album sounds. And for sure, I was definitely surprised by this album. Shouts out to all the producers that work with Dre. Shouts out to all the writers on this project, which let me get around to a couple of them, and I just feel like this is just my hunch. Let's start with BJ the Chicago Kid. Now, Chicago was all over this album in general. Like, you had BJ the Chicago Kid, and you had my boy Fat Money. That's a hometown favorite for sure. If you know, you know. Those of you that don't know who Fat Money is, one of the top artists in Chicago, one of the top artists to ever come out of Chicago. Finally, I feel like he'll be getting the just due and the just due that he deserves. I was definitely proud just from afar, him just getting that look, you know what I mean? Like, if you follow him on Instagram, all the social media outlets, he gave you a couple videos. I mean, not videos, but pictures letting you know he was in that one place that every artist wanted to get to, and that's Dr. Dre's studio. So when I saw that, I said, yeah, he gonna be on something. Who would have thought it was gonna be on Missionary album? Now, one thing I like to think is Dr. Dre has worked with just about everybody that is to work with, but everything that he does is calculated and by design. He's one of those producers that it's not gonna come out unless it's right, or it may not even come out at all. Hell, we done got over the detox thing. That's a whole nother story that I really don't care to talk about. As a matter of fact, I don't even care to listen to detox at this point. But to have certain things in your arsenal, he can put verses. He just got verses upon verses from everybody, I would imagine. And he said, you know what, this verse will go good with this verse will go good with that, this singer will go good with that, which brings me around to Coco Sarah. I pray that I'm saying your name right, but she is dope. If y'all don't know who she is, look her up. She is dope. And I know Dre gonna always have a couple artists somewhere that stands out with this one. Now, to my surprise, I didn't see no Dog Pound collaborations. I didn't see no Lady of Rage or none of that type of stuff. This album was nothing like Doggy Style. If you was expecting Doggy Style, they already pre-warned you wasn't going to get that. And I'm glad we didn't get that, because a lot of times when you're doing sequels or follow-ups to a certain type of thing, it never works 10 times out of 10, because some people like to chase that vibe or chase that ghost of the past. And most of the times it just doesn't work. And so with this, just naming the album Missionary, in my mind, I'm thinking it's the follow-up to Doggy Style. You know what I mean? Although it's been plenty of albums in between, it's been plenty of collaborations in between. But one fine point that stands out to me in the interview, Snoop said, working with Dre is the only time he ever feel like being an artist. And I would take his word for that, because we saw a different Snoop Dogg. I would say that. Like, if we listen to Snoop Dogg, we've been listening to Snoop Dogg for years. And believe me, let me just say, Snoop Dogg is probably the most recognizable figure in the world. It's not just his music. It's more so about his persona, his aura. Like, people just love Snoop Dogg's persona, including myself. Uncle Snoop is one of the dopest people to ever be around. Everybody wants to be in his presence in one way or another. And I, for one, myself, I dream about getting into that compound, man. So Snoop, if you ever come across this and watch this, man, invite your boy to the compound, man. I would like to do an interview with you or something. I'm a producer as well. And I won't even go as far as that, because I'm pretty sure y'all standards is extremely high. I think I'm pretty funky anyway. So regardless if I work with anybody or not, I'm pretty confident in what I do. But that's a whole nother story for another time. But I will say, Now or Never, The Negotiator, Sticky Situation, Foreplay, Skyscrapers. Another part of me was a different one for sure. That song features Sting. Now, some of these features, let's get back to that. Dre had Tom Petty on the feature, Sting on the feature. If you know how big these iconic figures are in not only just music, but in rock and roll, that's dope in itself, just bridging the gap with hip hop and rock. And I just thought that was pretty dope. And I already know, without promo run, without the tools and whatever else they got up their sleeve, that's by design. I know that's a Dr. Dre thing. I'm pretty sure Jimmy Iovine was somewhere in the cut. So it's like, a lot of variables come into play behind the scenes. Another thing I want to add is I was watching the promo run, the layout, 12, 13 minute short film to go with the rollout. I thought that was pretty dope. I know it's a lot of people is going off into the AI visual, as far as the visuals. Everything is dope about the rollout itself. The project is a foreglow. I expect this to do numbers. This is definitely one of those, it felt nostalgic and like a breath of fresh air at the same time. Because whenever you get some of your favorite diehard fans calling classic, that's how you know Dr. Dre don't miss. And if Snoop, he brought out a different Snoop. It's a different type of Snoop, and you hear it. I even heard a few new cadences. He was even tampering with a few new styles as far as flow patterns on certain records. The intro is dope. It's got BJ Chicago Kid on there doing his 1-2 for about a minute and a half or so. I mean, everything about this album is dope. It's a joint on there called Gorgeous. That was fire. It's a joint on there called Hard Knocks. Fire. It was an Eminem and 50 Cent sighting. It's a song entitled Guns and Smoke, ironically. So you got them on there doing they 1-2. You got Snoop on there. Beats, like I said, is fire. So it was a few songs on there, like I said, you could have left them off. But overall, this album is dope. Overall, man, this is one of Snoop's best albums, if I could be honest, in a long time. It's that West Coast vibe. I want to say traditional G-Funk, because it wasn't that, but it was definitely West Coast, because it's the Dr. Dre sound. It's the Dr. Dre stamp. So it's got to be West Coast. But if you break down the West Coast sound, I just did a review on Kendrick Lamar, another Aftermath artist. That's a West Coast album. It's West Coast 100%. Dr. Dre transcends the West Coast. It's a grown and sexy album. It's got a lot of elements in there along the way. You got rock, you got neo soul, you got West Coast, you got G-Funk, you got just some of everything. Top tier musicianship from top to bottom. Top tier sound, top tier everything. This man is 59 years old, ladies and gentlemen. And he's still cranking out dope albums. He's cranking out bangers. He's still Dr. Dre. No pun intended. Snoop Dogg is Snoop Dogg, but let's be honest, Snoop Dogg is not the greatest lyricist in the world these days. And does he have to prove that? No. But in this one, Snoop got busy on this album, bro. Like, I was surprised by it. Like I said, without expectations, it exceeded expectations. And that's how I'm going to leave it there. So we're going to end that on that note. Once again, this is a full globe album. If you haven't heard it, if you got to the end, I appreciate y'all. For those of you on the new, feel free to come back again and wipe your feet at the door. Like and subscribe, hit the notification button. Hopefully you stick around for a while. Like I said, I got so much content to give you guys. It's a lot of stuff I'll continue to work on. Let me just address a few questions before I end. This is not a podcast episode 105. I have to mention that once again. That episode actually been done, but we had to recut it, and we're gonna redo that episode again because I put a lot of work into that episode because we were talking about Quincy Jones, and as you know, Quincy Jones passed last month, and that was unfortunate. So we put something special together, and so I'm gonna recut that episode because I was having a little bit of technical difficulties. My computer in the background, Premiere Pro could be up sometimes. I ended up just saying forget it, and we're gonna redo it again, kind of make it a little bit better and a little more simple. You know what I mean? We're gonna simplify. We don't have to do all this extra fancy smancy stuff to get our point across because we still trying to get you guys to watch the videos to the end. So I gotta mention that 105 is still on the way. 106 is incubating as well because we got a couple things we want to talk about on this. Is not a podcast, but in the meantime, in between time, we got a few vlogs in between that we want to do. I'm gonna bring back the movie reviews. I got a few movies I've been watching lately on the news side, documentaries and all of that, and a lot of movies that I continue to watch now that I want to talk about. We'll be adding that dynamic back to the channel. And also, I ain't said this in a while, but hey, we are accepting donations for what's to come, and we are doing a series of short films and a lot of different things we want to add to the channel. So just in case you guys are still here, if y'all been a part of the community all this time, then y'all should know what this is. But I'm just talking to my peoples that's on the news right now. We will be focusing on short films, documentaries, and things of that sort. But just to wet your whistle a little bit, feel free to watch everything on all 3 seasons of In the Stew. Make sure you watch all the episodes of the Mud docu-series is one of those. We got a couple documentaries scattered here and there on this channel. We taking it to another level with the short films and everything like that. It's been one of my goals and one of my visions is to bring my visions to life. And that's when, just starting my journey with the short films. I'm already currently in production of a short film now, and we're doing a lot of different things, working with a lot of other creators, a lot of other videographers and directors and things of that sort. It ain't been easy, so I've been one man banding it a lot, so we definitely accepting everything helps. Please feel free, if you watch the videos to the end, you're not really obligated to do so, but every little bit counts because this helps with the production costs, this helps with the camera crew and everything else that we may need that can get pricey, but I'm willing to do that to bring you guys this content by any means necessary. So yeah, the Bible says ask not, want not, and so I'm asking. With that being said, keep God first, stay sucker free, and by all means get to the money. Peace and love, stay healthy, and I'm out this joint. Peace.